Thank you for joining me on the journey. This is Completed Christianity, so welcome back. Once again, another episode of Being Complete, and today we are going to be talking about misunderstood verses. This is third day of the week, third day to Shabbat. So, let's jump right into it. Today we're going to be sort of looking at being a doer of the word, and so this is something that's been said through many decades in our lives, if you're a little bit older, but really I haven't heard this much in the last handful of years, 10, 15 years. I haven't heard much of this. And this really flies just right in the face of the typical teaching of that we're saved by grace alone, through faith alone. But you got to be a doer of the word. Well, they say, oh, no, that's works-based religion. But no, you got to be a doer. You got to be a doer of the word. So let's take a look at one of these verses here. And it's Romans 12:12. For as many have sinned without Torah, without the law, for as many have sinned without Torah, shall also perish without Torah. And as many as have sinned in the Torah shall be judged by the Torah. For not the hearers of the Torah are righteous in the sight of the Mighty One, but the doers of the Torah shall be declared right. Well, I thought we were declared right by faith. And there's actually another verse that says that. And both are true, but it's a timing issue. They're not both true at the same time. They're both true in the end. And so as many as sinned without the Torah shall also perish without the Torah. So this is going to be, we're going to get into some more verses in this passage, but this is something that people say, oh, well, if you try and keep the law, then you're going to be guilty of the whole law. You're guilty of the whole law anyway. There's not a little tick button where you just opt out. That's not the way it works. In the end, the Father is going to judge us by a standard, and the only standard He has is His law that He says is forever, and that you shall not add to it or take away from it. So let's go on with this. So a little earlier in this passage, it says, but wrath and displeasure to those who are self-seeking and do not obey the truth, but obey unrighteousness. So we're supposed to obey the truth. Well, like Pilate said, what is truth? Well, the word tells us what the truth is. We don't have to define it for ourselves. We don't need some external thing. We don't need some religious organization to define what truth is or define what our truth is, because the truth is the truth, and the word tells us what the truth is. So let's look at the verse. So it's Psalm 119, 142. Your righteousness is righteousness forever, and your law, your Torah, is truth. So the law, the standard that the Father gave us, that He said is forever, and He said you shall not add to it or take away from it, that is the truth. So when does truth quit being truth? Truth is always true. It doesn't quit being true. It's always true. So in modern times, in our modern Christianity, and it tells us that at some point, this truth, this law that is truth, that it quit being truth. And that's an oxymoron. That's paradoxical. You can't have that, and you can't have it both ways. So let's go on. So Romans 2:14, for when nations or Gentiles who do not have the law, the Torah, by nature do what is in the Torah, although not having the Torah, they are a Torah to themselves. So it's saying that even though those that don't have the law, don't know the law, that if they do the things in the law, then they are a law to themselves, and they are a law to themselves who show the work of the Torah written in their hearts, their conscience also bearing witness, and between themselves their thoughts accusing or even excusing. And in the day when the Mighty One shall judge the secrets of men through Yeshua Messiah according to my good news. So, Paul's good news. Some people who are the anti-Paul crowd, they want to say, well, see, Paul's got his own gospel. No, that's not what he's saying. He's talking about Gentiles, and his gospel was the gospel to the Gentiles, to the nations, that they could come back to the Father. And these Gentiles weren't just run-of-the-mill pagans that never had anything to do with the Father. These Gentiles he talks about, they're the ones who were cut off and divorced from the Father, that were the northern kingdom, the 10 tribes that became Gentiles, that they're able to come back. That's Paul's gospel. They're able to come back to the ways of the Father. So, here, he is talking about these people that even though they don't have the law, they can be a law to themselves if they keep what's in the law, not actually knowing it. So James 1:22, he says, and become doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. So, here's another shot. We're supposed to be doers of the word. The word is the law. The word is everything that proceeds from the mouth of the Father, which includes his law. It's not finished. It's not done away with. And so, when we go back to these verses, so here in Romans 2:12 and 13, these people, they are without the law, which is anomia. They're without the law, but then they're able to come to the law by doing things that are in the law, even if they don't have the law. And so when they hear in their conscience, or when it's preached to them, and they hear the law, the hearers of the law are righteous in the sight of the Mighty One, but the doers of the Torah shall be declared right. Psalm 89:34, my covenant I will not break, nor alter the word that has gone out of my lips. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up. Comments of opposition are welcome. Just don't say anything dumb like we're not under the law or under grace, because you've been taught to use that verse outside of the bounds of its intended context. Subscribe now. Smash that subscribe button and ring that bell so that you get notifications of all future videos.